Okay. All right, are we live yet? Okay, we are live on Facebook. Welcome to the Facebook Live audience and welcome to you guys. I'm going to talk about discovering your unique value proposition. But when I start, let me ask the question. Who thinks you know your unique value proposition? I know some of it. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna help you, I think, today. This is one of the things in the Business Growth Network, and actually I've learned from working with a number of you, is that your unique value. There's three things that I'm really striving for, and one of the things you're going to see in the vision challenge as we evolve that is we're talking about your unique reason, which some people call your why. Then your unique vision, or what we call the dream vision, and that is, again, unique to you. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about today, and it actually has come up through a number of our working sessions and actually trying to implement kind of what I would call the back end of the vision challenge in the Business Growth Network, is this thing called what is your unique value. Now, I'm going to give you, I made an executive decision not to give you the notes page, and which essentially act as your prompt for the worksheets that I'm going to ask you to do at the end. So, because my objective right now, we only got 30 minutes, is for you to really get clear on the things that I'm going to talk about today, and really understand when you take that away. And I'll tell you at the end also, if you walk away and you think, even with the sheet, I'm not sure I can do what he just talked about, which I think you can. This is simple enough. I think you can really do it. The interesting thing is, just like your unique reason and your unique vision for your business, most people don't do it. You understand what I'm saying? One of the things I want to share with you, I actually went to a family reunion. For those of you who are Wednesday noon, I got back in on Tuesday night. And in talking about your unique value, sometimes we tend to look at the external market and we assume things about the people that are going to buy our services and things like that. By the way, this is going to be PG. So if you have a child who you haven't had the sex talk with, then I would encourage you, if you're on Facebook Live, not to have them listen to this video. But this was told by my father-in-law at a family reunion that had kids didn't speak to upper kids. So it actually played okay in that audience. But I thought it was really relevant to talking about the value proposition. And he was talking about a gentleman who was in a nursing home. He was at reasonably old, and he was in the nursing home. And he realized all of a sudden, in terms of he needed to make a little extra money, and realized that he was the only man in this nursing home, and there was a need within the nursing home by some of the women in the nursing home for relations. And so he decided, and I'm not telling you exactly like my father-in-law, because he's actually a little more graphic than me, is he decided that he was going to go into business. Okay, so he said, okay, I'm going to go into business, and he did it through networking. He didn't post a sign on his door or anything like that, but he did it through networking. And his value proposition, you can get what customers are buying from me. It's $5 on the floor, $10 standing up, or $15 on the bed. And so he didn't really do any market research, but he got some consulting experience. So you got to give people three options, right? So he said, okay, give them three options, and you know which one they'll pick, really, but you're going to give them some choices so they can feel like they opted in, right? So, he had some people show up, and so on. This one woman come in, and she says, well, I heard and he says, yep, it's $5 on the floor, $10 standing up, or $15 on the bed. So she gets into her wallet, and she's fumbling around, and she pulls out a $20 bill, and she hands him a $20 bill. And he says, okay. He says, here, wait a minute, let me, he goes over to the drawer to get change. She said, no, I want $4 on the floor. So the point is, you got to understand your unique value proposition, and you got to understand it not from your perspective, but from the perspective of who? Your ideal client, the person that's going to be buying. And that way you can more appropriately align all of your marketing and sales activities. In fact, frankly, your unique reason, or what we call your why, and your unique vision, what we call your dream vision in the vision challenge are really about keeping you interested and engaged and focused and wanting to push forward in your business. When you talk about your unique value proposition, on the other hand, you're really talking about the basis for engaging people, sales and marketing in your business. And if you don't understand what that is, and you can't articulate that, what is usually the results of your business? It's not going to be, you're not going to be very successful. Now, how many of you, just so I kind of know how to tailor this, how many of you have clients? You have a client, let's say you have a really good client. How many of you just would like to have clients, and maybe you're thinking about a business, okay? I know we have some of those, and how many of you have no clients and you've never helped anybody else, but you've done something yourself? Okay, I actually have people, in fact, Ruth Ann Weefall, who's part of this group, has been in here. She started her business based upon transformation and value that she executed upon herself and had the results. She lost a lot of weight, got healthy, and now she has a health business, okay? So there are, all three of those can work. So before you start out and start dismissing, one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is take this in, process it, and then do something with it. When you hear, a lot of you have heard me say, we connect the dots, okay? How many of you assume when I say we connect the dots, I'm talking about me and people who work for me? Okay, who am I talking about? Me and you. Okay, so if you've known me well enough, you know it's the we is me, and in fact, I've never had an original thought in my life. I often say that, and I am not necessarily my expert at creating dots, creating unique value propositions or those things. What I am, and my gift, and this is something you need to think about yourself, is my gift is connecting dots, helping people get the full picture, helping people do the only thing that will make you successful is executing on your gift, your market, okay? So you with me there? Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about. So as you can see, this is a picture of apples and there's one red apple. That's you. But they're all apples, right? One of the things that really got me energized about this presentation, I had a one-on-one with, I won't say who, but she's Polish and she comes on Wednesdays. And she said, there's a lot of other people in the healthcare space here, and I go to these networking meetings, and one of my frustrations is that other people offer supplements, other people offer this. I know Rayanne's, I've worked with her a lot, she's in, well, I'm not going to describe it but she knows her value, and I think that we could explore. But I've worked with her to help explore what that value is. But there's other people in that space, right? But you are a unique answer. You have a unique value proposition, and the first 4 questions that I'm going to go through with you that you're going to work on after this meeting is to get to discovering or better understanding your unique value proposition, okay? The second part, the 5th question, is really going to be how do we take that and get some clarity and get some ideas around what that looks like, okay? So that's where we're going, and I will give you a handout that has the slides. I'm sorry?
I said ow.
Oh, sorry. So anyway, we're going to go through that. So, what is your unique value? Now, here's the interesting thing. Is your unique value the supplement you provide? Is it?
No.
It's part of it. Is the unique value the way you do it? The systems you use if you're using yes. But that's only 10%. The real 90% is the outcomes that you have enabled your clients, hopefully you have clients, or you expect that maybe if they've never paid you, is there something that people come to you for that they always are coming to you for? that's probably part of it. That's part of the discovery process, is thinking about what is it that, or is there something you've done uniquely in your life for yourself that you think if you could share that, write a book or teach some other people, that would be of value. Okay, so that's the 90%. The 90% is not how you do it. In fact, that is a key. I'm sure Jenna will tell you, and I will tell you, that is a key area. Even people who are make a lot of money, is thinking about their unique value proposition in terms of who they work for, what product they have to sell, what services they do, what is in their portfolio of financial products. I don't care. What is the process, or what is the service delivery mechanism? And that is not. You need to explain that at some point. But when you're talking to clients, when you're really trying to grow your market, when you're really trying to figure out what your business is, you need to be able to understand and articulate what people are uniquely coming to you for, okay? And so I'm going to give you 4 questions that'll help prompt that. What I'm going to want you to do with the answers to these questions, and the reality of it is, I will move out of the way of the screen, but I'm kind of trying to stay in the frame of Facebook Live. For those that don't see it, you will have a slide that I will give you, a notes page handout, and for those of you in the Business Growth Network, I may ask you to come on Monday because my printer ran out of yellow ink before here. I only got like 12 or 13 copies, so I may be a little short. But that being said, and for you online, you'll have to find another way to connect, because I'm not going to give it, I'm not sending it to anybody. But I will, because you guys are kind enough to be part of the studio audience here, I'll definitely give you guys a copy. So when you think about these things, all right, they're going to be 90% coming from the outcomes that the people or the clients you work with experience. That's what you're going to want to get in your mind. That's what you're going to want to focus on. And that's what's going to be really key to growing your business and to selling and marketing and all the other stuff that you want to do. If you're focused on how do I do all of these things and not what I actually provide as far as value, you're focused on the wrong things. If you don't have the answer, Jenna will tell you, I will tell you, anybody that's in consulting will tell you, if you don't know your why, how to, what you want to do, then teaching you how to do stuff is, we may sell it to you because you make money on it, but the reality of it is your ability to execute and connect the dots and do something with it is going to be less than optimal. You with me? Okay, so let me move on to the next slide. So imagine in your mind, and you can do this now, but when you're going to do this exercise, and the outcome of this exercise is, I'm going to want you to pick one unique customer, your best, preferably your best client, the best experience you ever had. If you've been in business, or you've been talking, you've been selling your stuff, or you've been selling your services or practice, there's probably somebody it's kind of your go-to example, right? Who has that? Who wish they had that? Okay, the point is, you wish you had it. If you're just, no, it's okay, it's all right, it's not a problem. The point is, just because you don't have that or whatever, we can work with you, and I'm not necessarily going to work through all that, but the ideal situation is you have somebody that you provided, that's paid you for services, you saw the outcome, and you can really put and what I'm going to tell you is take a piece of paper, and actually 2 pieces of paper, because I want you to fill up 2 pieces of paper with the answers to these questions that are going to come through doing what I'm going to suggest in answering these questions. And the first one is, so imagine that client, your greatest success. If you fall into the trap of thinking many clients, or making this amorphous client thing, if you remember the vision challenge, we talked about that one person, that persona, or that avatar, I think is what Jen, and the point is, you still fall into a trap of kind of genericizing, and I'm looking for a name. I'm looking for the person that you feel like really, in their success, is manifest the value that you provide. All right? Just that one person. Don't confuse it. Trust me in the fact that if you do this and answer these questions with that one person, there will appear, and I can tell you this for a fact because a guy named Woody Buckner did this to me as the third step of the 3 steps of unique that I talked to you about. And this isn't necessarily his methodology, it's just the way he walked me through it, and I now understand, is there is that example that comes to your mind to think of, okay, when was I the happiest? When did I provide the most value? When was my client the most successful? And that's what you want. That's the one thing. Write their name on the sheet and write the name on both sheets. They're gonna be the source for the answers to these questions. All right? Is that clear? So, and then, you know, if, like I said, if you have clients, that's okay. That's great. That's perfect. First choice is a client. Second choice is if you've not ever had anybody really pay you for this value or this that you really think is your gift or you really think is the value you could provide, but maybe they haven't provided you yet, but maybe you gave it to somebody for free. Maybe you helped somebody out. Maybe people are always coming to you for, like in my case, clarity on what do I do next. Clarity on how do I take my customer, my business to the next level. Clarity on how I transform my ministry. If I look across all the things that I've done in my life, you'd say that's pretty eclectic. That's pretty weird. And there's different things from doing large multi-billion-dollar deals to working to grow a ministry to helping somebody envision and ultimately start up their own business to somebody who had to close down. I just recently closed down a church and a school. How does that all connect? Well, it all connects because I have a gift that is my unique value proposition that even if I think of any one of those and really answer these questions, or how do I, start the Business Growth Network, or how do we do these, it all comes back to that thing, that my unique value. Not that I do everything myself. The other thing is, we'll talk about is, I'm going to give you the first question, then I'm going to tell you how to answer this, because if you don't answer this, you're going to run out of gas. And you just go with me here, because we're all trained large. How many people came out of corporate America, or has spent time in corporate America, or ever worked for an employer? Okay. Okay, so if you had an employer, you're usually taught that you're just part of a machine, right? Because if you value yourself too much, then you'll want too much pay. So most people here are either entrepreneurs or want to be, or they're professionals and they want to grow and they want to work on their vision, their dream, and so on, right? And so understanding your value is important. So what specific results did this one client get from working with you? This means, let's say you're in weight loss, and I worked with them, and in 3 months they lost 100 pounds, or maybe that's surgery that you had to do there, but you with me? I mean, there's something there. Or maybe it's in financial planning, and because Grover does a good job of this time in terms of communicating some of his values. He talked about, I worked with somebody and their husband died, and thankfully they'll be taken care of because of that. I don't care what products he used. The fact that that's something that really specifically happened. But think of that person that you really is your model client, the one that you love to have as many as you can, right? And have that person in your mind and say, what is the specific value? Make it time, specific. Remember, we talk about SMART goals. Well, specific and measurable, as much as you can. But don't get hung up on that, but just write those things down. And don't write just one thing. The other thing is, when we talk about this, it's a transformation or an outcome focus, not on how I did it. You with me? How I did it is really not that important. It's what they experience. That's what's gonna inform and fuel the rest of your thing. List the exact results, specific scope, time. Think of it in terms of their words. If they've said it to you or you've heard them tell somebody else, that's one of the reasons why we do thank yous and testimonies, is because if you're smart and you're listening to people who give you a thank you or give you some feedback in this room, right, you're taking that, and that's words that you can use to fill this out. If somebody is giving you a testimony, but don't get hung up if they haven't. You haven't gotten around to getting testimony. I wish I could put that. You can put it down here. There's nobody going to edit this. This is you. The other thing is, don't overthink it. This is not, no points for getting marketing words. In fact, the best outcome that you're looking for here is real words from real people. Things that people say, not something.
The way they say it.
The way they say it, not marketing speak, not consulting speak, not any speak that you think makes you sound smart. It's basically take the words in the way that you've heard them from this person that you've helped. Does that make sense? Don't overthink it. Don't make it marketing speak. Don't re-engineer the words. Don't edit the words. How many people are familiar with brainstorming? You ever done brainstorming? What is the rules of brainstorming? You basically, if you put it out there, you don't edit it, right? You're looking to get a brain dump. What I'm looking for in this 1.5 to 2 pages of content is no edited. No, what would Jenna think? What would Dave think? What would Mark think? What would anybody think about what I just said? This is what my customer said. It is what it is. Get it down on paper. And think of it in as many ways, in as many words, preferably sentences or statements, but they don't have to be. They can just be, they said I connect the dots. Really, the connect the dots for me came out of an exercise like this, is as I looked through these things, and one person that's been said to me multiple times early in my career said, you connect dots that other people don't even see. And I said, that resonated in my head, and I've heard that in different forms, but that's what came out of that. So understanding, the things your customers are saying, or your clients are saying, or the people you help are saying, or you can say about yourself if you did your own transformation, you're thinking about taking it to market. What is it that the person consuming is going to get as outcomes? Okay, is that clear? So that's the first source for the information you're going to put on this 2 pages. If you could fill up the 2 pages with this, then you're going to maybe have to pull out a few more pages because we're not done. This is just the first of 4 questions. Second question is, and this takes a little more thought, is when you worked with that person, or they bought your product, or they did your service, they had those specific results, which is what probably they engaged you in the first place with, but then there was some other ripple effect. Remember when Doug Grady was here, he wrote the book Ripple Effect, and he talked about things that are basically are a product of the things, the changes, the focus that you've already had. He does a program called 40 Days of Focus, which I know Grover bought into, I bought into, and it really, because you do things consistently over time, then there's a ripple effect. There's things that happen because they engaged you that weren't direct, but maybe indirect. So think of what those things. So when you talk about the things that, the answer to the first question, they did this and they lost this much weight, then maybe an indirect result was they found the love of their life and they got married and they've been healthy and happy, and they, I can tell you that, I retired at 11 years ago at a very early age, and my body age was 7 years older than my chronological age when I retired. And after retiring, changing my lifestyle, losing some weight, taking some supplementation, doing exercise on a regular basis, a number of different things, my body age is now 13 years younger than my chronological age, and I've sustained that for 11 years. Is that something that you would want? You understand why that's that? Now, who can take credit for that? That's the other thing, is when you're looking at this back to the employee recognition, you're always encouraged and trained and taught not to take credit if there's somebody else that also could take credit for it, right? And that's not the way you're going to do this. Be bold, make assumptions, and get it down on paper. Maybe they did. Maybe the person who helped me with supplementation could take credit for my 20-year swing in lifespan. But also the person who I was looking to give me some advice, personal trainer on working out and doing some things like that, could take. You with me? So even though those direct or indirect things could have had other things in play, you had a part. Your value, your unique value proposition had something to do with that, and I want it down on this piece of paper. If you don't put it down on this piece of paper, you're just cheating yourself, because it's going to become this sheet. several sheets of paper hopefully will come to be of value to you down the road. Now, I'm not going to get into what all those values are, but I think what this today isn't about your 30-second elevator speech. It isn't about your online marketing campaign. It isn't about, but the roots of this and everything else can feed into all of those things. But if you don't have the answers to all of those things become a slog. They become a hard thing to do. Okay, you with me? All right, so question 3. Here's a little tip difficult, because if you have that ideal client and they did buy your service, right, and they now are enjoying the benefits of that, then this is a little harder answer, but I want this one too. In fact, this is actually very important if later down the road we talk about placing a value on your service. In other words, who likes to price to market or price to a lot of you just be happy to get what normal people doing what you do get and get a lot of it, right? But how would you like to have premium pricing, or how would you like to people come to you instead of the other guy, even though you charge a lot more? Well, this is how you do it. You got to be able to answer this question, which is, what do you imagine? I'm using that word. Remember, I say, if anything were possible, what kind of future, when we talk about your unique or your dream vision, if anything were possible, what kind of future could you imagine for yourself or your business? Here is that word again, because my words are intentional. What do you imagine would have been the cost to the client had they not used your value? This is misspelling. So what do you imagine? What can you think of? This isn't that you know. This isn't that you've done scientific analysis. If you're an analytical, I apologize and I'm sorry for you, but you need to get past it. Okay? So you really do, because it's not going to help you grow your business. It's not going to help you at all. Really. It'll help you relate to other people that are as anal as you, but it will not help you grow your business. It will. So understanding what would happen, and that's based upon you understanding what the trajectory or the path that they were on when they met you. I was on a path, back to my example, of being 7 years older health-wise or body-wise than my life, okay? Now, if we carry that to its natural conclusion, if I hadn't have gone on to my own program or the program of several people who could take credit for it, my life would end 20 years sooner. What's that worth? Okay? So when you really get, because a lot of people, where most people start on pricing is, well, consultants get, or online subscription services get X, and do you want to be boxed in by that, or do you want to have those kind of words, that kind of value? If not me, then this, right? Those words need to be in these 2 pages. You need to answer that question. Okay, Mark.
I get this a lot in terms of people saying, I just got off the phone with XYZ, tech support. They couldn't solve my problems. I was on the phone for 4 to 5 hours. I get over there and it's 5 minutes.
Right.
It's like,
so for your page, that's a great example. Your page is, I solved the problem, answering 1 and 2, you solved the problem, and maybe that meant that they could do their work and they met their deadline and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
However, if they hadn't used your service, or they don't use your service, it's going to cost them 10 times as long, cost more money, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go spend this and so on and so forth. And I could talk to you about any one of you. We could talk about that. But again, and I'll talk about how to execute here in a minute. Okay, so you understand that. This is not a trivial one. This is probably, out of the 3, once you get the first 2 out of the way, this is going to be probably as much value to you as anything, is being able to know the price, because people buy because of fear, and they buy because of value or benefit, expected benefit. But they oftentimes buy more because the threat of loss than the opportunity for gain. You with me? And not that I'm talking about scaring people into it, but if you have this should be real and honest. And I don't care, it's sometimes negative, sometimes positive. It doesn't matter. I don't really care. I don't have an opinion about what is negative and what's positive. I mean, if you want to make the statements in a negative form, or a positive, it doesn't matter, because the most important thing is to get it down on paper. This is raw materials. This is going to be raw materials that will help you in growing and launching and expanding your business and creating all kinds of things. This isn't about coming up with a fancy 5-word, we connect the dots tagline. That's not it. It's not about your 30-second. Again, we could go off, it's about a lot of different things, but it's the core, and it can feed all of those things. The final of the 4 questions, and we'll get to the 5th, is, and this was kind of like a bonus question. You may have the page filled, and if you do, that's cool. But what are the biggest sources of pain which your ideal client, this person you're thinking about, still the same person, what do they need relief, or what are they asking for? When you come, somebody engages you and talks to you, what is the main thing that they seem to have as a problem or a pain? Think about those and write those things down. And then specifically when you write those down, they come to you for that, but I don't know if anybody else has this, but sometimes people come to me for things that I don't do. It's not in my wheelhouse, if you will. They're not my value. But asterisk or write those down too, because that may be untapped opportunity, or you may have opportunity to help somebody else, right? But you want to highlight the ones that you can solve, that they come to you for that pain and you either solve them or you can solve them. Maybe it's an upsell down the road or whatever. You with me so far? Okay. So now when we've completed this 2-3 pages of words, you've actually written sentences, statements, things. And again, this isn't something you just blow through. This is something you take all the time you need, because this is an important resource. Think about it, come back, look at it, read what you wrote. Oh, in addition, also this. Also, the more, where I normally say less is more, this is more is more. Okay, so you want more words, you want more thoughts, you want more time to spend on this. Too many times, people want to get to the execution before they understand the why and the dream and their real value, and then they get into executing and then can't figure out why they ended up a place they didn't want to be, or weren't getting the results they wanted to get. Okay? So, the last one is, now, looking at those 2 pages, and you're going to create another, you're going to pull out another page, and what are the most powerful and descriptive statements or words? What are the things that you read in the words that you've written that when you look at them, they cause you to emote. They cause you to be emotional. They make you. There's things I can tell stories. I know some of you have. You can tell stories that make you cry, right? That touch your heart in such a way. If you get me talking about the value that I added, or in the school that my kids went to, and having to go through, and what I had to do in terms of landing the plane there and stuff, you'll get me emotional. So think about the words that you're reading, the statements that you're reading, and when you read them, and then a client's looking at those, which are the most powerful, which are the most, and then put those on another page. Okay, and that raw material then will have an impact. And again, it could be emotionally negative, emotionally positive. I'm not looking for love, hate, anger. I'm just looking for things that ring. Have you ever read anybody's email that they want you to click on something or do something, and you read and you go, "Whoa, I need to click on that," or some of it's clickbait. But I mean, my point is, you want to go there because of what that statement was. Where do they get those? This is where they should get those, because it's kind of like somebody said, it's kind of like a dog whistle that only your ideal client can hear. That's what you want. You don't want everybody. You want specific people with specific needs that you can help in your business. And so if you're articulating your unique value in that way, even if there's other people in the room that sell supplements, they get that you personally have been engaged using those tools or using that process to making that kind of difference in people's lives. So, what is your unique value? What time is it? Okay, well, I'm going to get, what time is it?
12:43.
Okay, this is perfect. Okay, so this is a video. I just want you to watch this.
There are more than 7 billion people on this planet. Over 7 billion people that breathe, walk, and talk just like you do. Many with goals and objectives very similar to yours. Kind of overwhelming when you think about it. What makes you any different than everyone else? What makes your situation exceptional? The answer is value. We all have this unique ability to bring something different to the world, something valuable to offer. This exists with every single person on the planet. The question is, will you allow yourself to be that person? Are you brave enough to pursue your passion, to turn it into something meaningful? It's the pursuit of passion that will allow you to thrive. Where you thrive, you innovate, and where there's innovation, there's value. Not only for yourself, not only are you fulfilling your own aspirations, but you're providing a gift to the world. And the sad truth is, and this is no secret, it's that it's not uncommon for people to avoid doing what they're passionate about. Whether it's because their time is distributed out to a million other things in their lives, or even worse, because they've accepted that the pursuit simply isn't possible. Either way, to deliberately walk away from what drives you is to turn your back on something special. To reference my favorite analogy, it's to sit on a winning lottery ticket and refuse to cash it in. Just imagine if Michael Jordan spent less time with basketball, if Beethoven didn't focus on music. Imagine a world where Steve Jobs only devoted a fraction of his day to the creation of the Mac. Think what the world would be missing out on. But they didn't. They followed passion wholeheartedly. They pursued what they loved. They studied, they practiced, they improved, they went all in. And they each made something that the human race had never seen. There's a point in every person's life when a light bulb turns on. Maybe it's the realization that that commute back and forth to an unfulfilling job is a waste of time. Or that the hours spent hanging out with buddies could have been redirected to something else, improving a craft. There will come a time when you realize that your focus was not in the right place, that you let what you love fall to the wayside. Pull your head up, look around, and seek out what makes you feel alive. Question whether you're focusing on the right things. Are you following your passion in a way that adds value to your life, which will in turn add value to those around you? And value, it's such a simple concept. But like most simple concepts, it often gets overlooked. Businesses fail when value is disregarded. Relationships fall apart. Dreams aren't fulfilled when value leaves the forefront of people's lives. I'm all for simplicity. When it's very simple. Go all in on the things that bring value to your life. Eliminate the things that don't. You'll see that everything will change. You'll develop a sense of identity, an undescribable joy. The question is, are you allowing yourself to evolve into the person you were meant to be? Or are you watching the best part of life pass you by? Waiting for another time to do what you were put on this planet to do. Get what's yours. Let your talents change the world.
Pick that up off of YouTube. You can actually get it yourself. It's not my unique product. So last thing I'll leave you with is that Jeff Olson, who wrote the book The Slight Edge, says success and failure is based solely on, really in life, the little decisions you choose that are easy to make and easy not to make. Grover can tell you that with financial decisions. If you choose to spend more than you make over time, It's not going to make you bankrupt overnight, but over time, your finances are going to go this way. If you invest, it'll go this way. If you eat a Big Mac one day, it's not going to kill you. But if you invest in those little things, if you continually turn away from your unique value and don't take action, there's nothing I can do for you. If you don't take and do what answer the questions and do what I've said, I can't change that. The combination of the fact of putting that off, not doing that, not understanding that, going from today to tomorrow because I'm too busy, I can tell you where that leads. The choice to be here today, to get educated, to invest in yourself, and you do that on Fridays or whatever, that's a good thing to do. Because that this week will kill your business. Over time, you are the most valuable resource in your business and in your life, and unless other than God or whatever. But the point is, you not investing in that one time isn't going to hurt. Making a habit of that is going to hurt. So all I would encourage you to do is take this information. The pitch I would have to you is this: is we created the Business Growth Network. It's still $2 for a week, and then how much is it a month right now until 17. We launch? $17 a month until we launch. And all I can say is, if you've done these things before, you bought into programs, whatever, and you say, okay, I get it, I want to do that. What we do is, if you want to pursue this, I'm going to suggest on Monday when we meet for our 2 hours for the insiders, that you come to Monday, and we're going to work through some of this stuff with those that are participating in terms of coming up with
So you
your
have to be a member to come.
But you need to be a member. So if you sign up for this,
and that will end probably after September.
yeah,
not
September.
September.
We're launching in September. So the point.
I don't understand what this is all about.
Okay, this is yeah, and that
You went into
You need to
it.
talk
Right.
to them.
yeah, it's businessgrowthnetwork.org is the website. So if you go there, but but anyway, this is the kind of thing that we do, and this is the kind of thing we focus on. And the key is you have a group and a network of people that you show up and when you can or when you're ready. Timing is everything. You hear me say that all the time, right?
With
And sometimes you're not
consulting
ready.
and education.
Right. It's focusing on education and giving you access to things that you otherwise would have to pay big bucks to. So that's with that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over back to Mark.
All right, very good. That's something I